Hey guys, DIY Maniac here today, and we are going to be doing an oil change on my 2013 Honda Civic with the 1.8 liter. So I noticed a lot of videos up there already showing how to do it, but I figured I'd add to the database that's already out there on YouTube. So as you can see, I already have my car up on ramps. Now I do prefer using ramps when doing an oil change. It's a lot easier and quicker to get them up, and you don't have to fiddle with jacks and jack stands. So as you can see, I have the Rhino ramps, which work perfectly for this generation Honda Civic. Clearance on the bumper is perfect. I can't speak to the SI model as I don't know how low the front valance is, but for non-SI models that are unlowered, not lowered, they work perfect. As you can see, I got it up there, no issues, no rubbing whatsoever on the bumper. So on the Honda Civic, you have an oil life monitoring system, which I was very familiar with. I had it on my old Chevy Cobalt, and I do not follow that at all. I'm not a big supporter of those monitoring systems. I still prefer to do my oil changes at predetermined intervals. Auto manufacturers are in the business to sell you cars, not keep cars on the road for 10 plus years. So I'd like to do mine every 4 months or 7,000 kilometers. I guess that would be about 5,000 miles for you guys in the US. And that's the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the right way, it's just the way I do it and the way I've always been doing it. So for our oil change, what we're going to need is a 5 liter or 4 liter, 4 quart, 5 quart jug of 0W20 full synthetic oil. I'm a big supporter of Castrol and the Castrol Edge. Have been using it for many years. I'd say going on now 15 years, and always used it, never had issues, love that oil. This particular car, I believe, takes 4.2 liters total, so we'll have some left over. We're going to need our Honda oil filter. I always use OEM or manufacturer's oil filters. I never use, the ones out there, or the oranges, the whites, those companies. Nope, I don't use them. I use original manufacturer oil filters always. I've seen and heard too many horror stories with cheaper ones like Big Orange that I just don't want to risk it. And honestly, the cost is pretty much the same, so why not? And it's designed for your car. You're also going to need the crush washer, basically the gasket for the oil pan drain plug. A lot of people say, you only need to change it once every few oil changes. Guys, it's 10 cents. Change it every time. Why even worry about it? As far as tools, we're going to need our torque wrench for torquing on our drain bolt plug. On this particular model, it's 29 foot-pounds. I know a lot of you guys just go hand tight. Let's do things properly. Invest in a torque wrench. Torque it on. Be safe. Do it right the first time and alleviate any possibility of leaks. Oil filter wrench. A lot of times with these spin-on oil filters, they are on there tight. Especially the last oil change done on this car was done at the dealer, because before I bought it, they had done a fresh oil change for me. So this is the first time I'm doing oil change on this car. So I don't know how tight they put it on. But either way, it's always a good tool to have. Even if it's not tight, but it's in a hard place to get, the wrench makes life easy. So I'm going to open up the hood and then we'll continue on the video from there. The hood is open. A couple more tools we're going to need. Now, as far as socket sizes, screwdriver, I believe it's a Phillips, to remove the skid panel underneath the car. I'll detail what we're using when we get to those steps. As like I said, it is my first time doing an oil change on this car, so I'll figure out what the oil drain plug size is for the socket. And as I'm doing it, I'll tell you guys the size. So the size will be coming, don't worry. Couple more things we're going to be using. Oil drain, our catch can for our oil. Believe it or not, this particular one I've had for 10 plus years. I keep it clean, take care of it, lasts forever. We're also going to need, very important, shop towels. Can't go wrong with these. You know what, guys? They're not expensive shop towels. The ones, the blue ones from Scott Company, and I love them. I'm going to endorse them right here, right now. They're not expensive. Maybe $2.50 a roll, but man, these things are great, and I love them. So we're going to need those to keep our hands clean, keep different stuff clean. I also use latex gloves just to be even more clean. So as you can see, I got my work light on. So the only thing we really need to do under the hood is remove the filler cap, which is there. So we just unscrew that. Now the reason we remove that is to allow air in as it's draining. That way it drains much faster when you take the drain plug out and removing the old oil. It's basically like plumbing in a house. Air behind water causes the liquid to flow more. And the only other thing under the hood we'll be checking later on is our dipstick, which is right there. And we'll get to that when it's time. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to position my camera and my lights and tools underneath the car. And that's pretty much where most of the work's going to be taking place. And we'll continue the video from there. So here we are under the car. So as mentioned, on this particular car, we have a rear underside skid plate that needs to be removed so we could gain access to both the oil drain plug and the oil filter. So you can see those are all in there, and you got this metal plate. There's 3 Phillips head screws that need to be removed. One in the top right. There's one in the bottom right. I don't know how well you guys are going to see this. So there's one there, and then there's one in the back on the other side as well. So there's the 3 screws, actually 4, sorry. There's another one up here. See if I can get it on the camera. There we go. They need to be removed, and then once those are removed, the plate itself slides backwards and just drops right off, and that gives us access to everything underside. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those, and then we'll pick up the video. So here's the skid plate removed. As you can see, it's just a very thin piece of metal. You got the 4 Phillips head screws. They're securing it on, and once you remove those screws, basically you just slide it forward and release it from little clips, and it falls right down. So we'll put that aside. We'll go under the car, and I'll show you now with the skid plate removed how everything looks underneath, and thus giving us access. As we can see, the oil drain plug is right there, and our and our oil filter is right there, as you can see. So it's in a pretty good position. That's easy enough to get to. That shouldn't cause too many troubles. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the drain plug, and I'll come right back and tell you guys the size of socket that you're going to need for that. So the answer to our question is 17 millimeter is the size of the drain plug screw. The oil pan drain plug. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that, start draining the oil. I'm not going to film underneath the car me removing the filter and the drain plug. It just isn't enough room, and it's going to get pretty dirty. But I mean, I think that part of the thing, of the job, you guys, is pretty straightforward. I will come back later when we're installing the oil filter and go through the process of what should be done when putting the new oil filter on. You can see here the oil pan drain plug is removed. We can see the old crush washer there. So what I like to do is clean up the drain plug. We remove and discard of our old crush washer. Sometimes a little stubborn to remove because it's been crushed on. You know, it gets a little deformed, but you can work it off. So what I like to do is spin it. As you can see, there's our removed crush washer. You can see where it's crushed and deformed, basically to make the contour of the plug and the pan. And that's why I always replace it every oil change. For the cost of this thing, why even bother thinking about it? Change it. So we throw the old one out. We take our new one, which is here, and we insert that over the drain plug, and we're ready to go. Like I said, on this car, on the 1.8 liter, it's torqued on to 29 foot-pounds. Now, for the oil filter, there's 2 things I like to do before putting the oil filter on the car. As most of you know, take a little bit of clean oil, dab it on your finger, and put it on the rubber gasket, the O-ring. Basically what that does is it stops any kind of binding when you're tightening it, and just makes it easier the next time you have to remove it. What I also like to do is fill the oil filter with oil. Now on this car it's easily done because the oil filter gets installed facing downwards, so no oil would ever spill out. If you have a car where you have to come in sideways, that could get a little tricky. But I always like to fill them up with oil, and I'll tell you why. Normally when your car has been running, this constantly has oil in it. So when you start up the car and the sump kicks on to pump the oil pump starts flowing the oil, it already has oil ready to go in the system right at the filter, which is higher up. When this is empty, there's no oil getting into the motor as quickly as it would when the filter has oil in it, because it's now at a lower point, which is only in the oil pan. So now it's going to pump oil up through the system, fill the filter, and then get it into the engine, into the motor. So it's just a thing I like to do, fill it up with oil, less time the engine's running dry upon initial startup after an oil change. So I'm going to go ahead now, continue letting the oil drain. You want to make sure the oil drains completely. So, open up the drain plug, put your catch can underneath, walk away, go have breakfast, go do something. Come back, as long as there's no more oil coming out, you're ready to go. Put your drain plug back in, torque it, screw on your oil filter, hand tight. Never use the wrench to tighten it. You only need hand tight. So you're going to snug it by hand, give it a quarter turn. That's good enough. Obviously, once the oil change is done, you're going to start the engine and look for any leaks. But if you do hand tight, you're not going to have any problem. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to show you that process, but then we'll come back to the process of adding the oil and checking the oil. So I'll be right back. I wanted to share a couple more points with you that are very important. This is the new oil filter we're looking at. Let's pretend it's the old. When you remove it from the vehicle, the important thing to look for is your rubber gasket to make sure it came with the filter. I've had it happen to me once in the, close to 1,000 oil changes I've done in my life. But it does happen where the rubber gasket actually sticks to the mating surface of the oil filter housing on the car and doesn't come off with the filter. And then what happens is, if you don't notice that, you screw your new filter on, and now you've doubled up your gasket material, which will most definitely cause a leak. So you're going to want to check when you remove the old filter that gasket is there. Another thing I like to do is take my shop towel when I'm under the car and just clean up the mating surface of the oil filter and the housing. Remove any oil, any drips. That should be done from all parts of underneath the car where oil may have dripped upon doing your oil change. So that's just one key factor I wanted to share with you guys. So we're at the step now where we're going to be adding the oil back to the car. Once again, our 0W20, fully synthetic. The exact amount needed is 3.9 US quarts or 3.7 liters. I'm in Canada. I work in liters, so we will put the 3.7. Usually what I do is I put 3.5. I'll go 200 milliliter under, and then I'll start doing a visual verification on the dipstick to bring us exactly where we need to be. So you're going to take your funnel and you're going to start adding your oil to the car. I usually let it go and then let it settle. Now, obviously, before checking your oil for the final time, or once you know you're getting close, you want to start up the car. Make sure everything is filled with oil, all the chambers, the filter is fully filled with oil. I know we pre-filled it, but it might not have been 100% where it needs to be. And then we could get more accurate checks. And in the Honda manual, it says we should be checking hot. I've done testing to see on other cars what the difference is in oil levels between hot oil and cold oil. It's fractional. It's not much. So the reason they say give it 5 minutes. They're figuring most people are going to check it at a gas station after filling up with gas when it's hot. So I'm going to put that much in. I'm going to let it settle a bit. I'm going to check. And then we'll do the more accurate measuring. So underneath the car, everything's done, minus the skid plate. I did not put it back because I want to get the oil in, start it up, and check for leaks. Once that's checked, I will put the skid plate back on. The drain plug is torqued to 31 foot-pounds. And that's pretty much it. So it's pretty much simple. I'm gonna come back to you guys and show you the dipstick and how the dipstick looks and where the oil needs to be on the dipstick. So I'll just continue on with this and then I'll get right back. We're at the stage now where we're going to be checking the oil. I know I'm pretty much where I want to be as far as volume put in. So now it's just to make those fine-tune adjustments. So what you're going to do is you're going to remove your dipstick over here. You're going to take it out. You're going to clean it off. Don't take a reading right away because it won't be accurate. Remove all excess oil with your shop towel. Reinsert the dipstick in. Fully insert the dipstick to get a proper reading. Take the dipstick out. and then you're going to make your reading with the aid of, you can take your treble light, your shop light, and try to get a reading. I'll show you guys close up what the dipstick looks like. I'll see how well I could get it in the camera here. It's not going to be easy. Let's see what I can do for you guys. So if we look here, you can see there's like a honeycomb pattern on it. So you want the oil to be in that honeycomb. That's your low and your high, preferably more towards the high side. You never want to overfill either. That's not good. So you can kind of see where the oil level's at. You see you have those diamond patterns in the honeycomb. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm up to the third one. It's filled with oil. So that's how you know where you are. You can then reconfirm on the other side, and it'll give you that same information. Camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. So as we can see, we're in the middle. So I'm going to put in maybe another 200 ml. And then it's pretty much I'm exactly where factory told me I need to be, which is the 3.7 liters. And that's pretty much it. And then your oil change is done. So like I said, I know there's many videos out there for oil changes on a Honda Civic. I just wanted to add to the library of videos and also give you guys, my subscribers, another video. So once again, that's an oil change on my 2013 Honda Civic 1.8 liter, which means it's applicable, I guess pretty much all 1.8 liters, but definitely I could say for sure the 9th generation Civic applicable. So that's pretty much it. So thanks a lot, guys, for watching. I'll have more videos coming up soon. So once again, comment, like, and subscribe. Have a great day, guys.